Alright, so in this problem, I have 9 to the power of x is equal to 18. So I want to find the value of x here. So for my solution, I first start with 9 to the power of x is equal to 18. Now to solve this, I'm actually going to take the log on both sides. So now I have log 9 to the power of x is equal to log 18. Now, if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can actually move this exponent b to the front. So this is going to equal b times log a. In this case, I have log 9 to the power of x, and I can move x to the front. So that's going to equal x times log 9, which is equal to log 18. Now, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by log 9. These two cancel out, and I have x is equal to log 18 over log 9. Now log 18, that's the same thing as log 9 times 2. And if I have something in the form log a times b, this is equal to log a plus log b. So log 9 times 2, that's going to equal log 9 plus log 2. Now I have this over log 9. Now this is the same thing as log 9 over log 9 plus log 2 over log 9. Log 9 over log 9, that's simply equal to 1. So I have 1 plus log 2 over log 9, I can rewrite as log 3 squared. And remember, if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can simply move b to the front. So in this case, log 3 squared, I can move 2 to the front. So now I'm going to have 1 plus log 2 over 2 times log 3. Now log 2, that's equal to 0.301. And 2 times log 3, that's 2 times 0.4771, which is equal to 0.9542. And 0.301 divided by 0.9542 is 0.3154. So if I add these two, I get x equals 1.3154. So this is my answer. Alright, so in this problem, I have 4 to the power of x minus 2 to the power of x is equal to 1. So to solve this, I'm going to first go ahead and rewrite 4 to the power of x as 2 squared to the power of x, because 4 is 2 squared, minus 2 to the power of x is equal to 1. Now, I can actually switch the places of these two exponents, so now I have 2 to the power of x to the power of 2 minus 2 to the power of x is equal to 1. Now, I'm going to let y equal to 2 to the power of x. So now I have y squared minus y is equal to 1. Now all I have to do is subtract 1 on both sides, and I get y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. So now I have a quadratic equation to solve. Now, my quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 1, and c is equal to negative 1. So I have y equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 1 all over 2 times 1. That's the same thing as 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 4 over 2, which is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So now remember how we set y equal to 2 to the power of x. So if y equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2, then I have 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So my two equations are 2 to the power of x equals 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2, and 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. So First off, 2 to the power of x equals 1 minus the square root of 5 or 2. 1 minus the square root of 5 is going to be a negative number. And 2 to the power of a positive number to the power of an exponent can't equal a negative number. So this is wrong. So all I'm left with is 2 to the power of x equals 1 plus square root of 5 over 2. So to solve this, I'm going to take the log on both sides. Now I can move x to the front, so now I have x times log 2 is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. Now if I divide both sides by log 2, I get x is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2 over log 2. So this is my answer. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 2048. So I want to find the value of x here. So for my solution, I first start with x to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 2048. Now, I'm actually going to rewrite 2048 here as 2 to the power of 11. So now I have x to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 11. Now 2 to the power of 11, that's the same thing as 2 to the power of 10 times 2 to the power of 1. And that's also the same thing as 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 9, which is the same thing as 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 8. And now, well, 2 to the power of 3, that's simply equal to 8. So now I have x to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 8 times 2 to the power of 8. And now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m times n, this is simply equal to a to the power of m to the power of n. So in this case, this can equal 2 to the power of 8 to the power of 2 to the power of 8. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, then this means that a equals b. So in this case, x is equal to 2 to the power of 8. So this is my answer to this problem. Alright, so in this problem, I have 9 to the power of x plus 15 to the power of x is equal to 25 to the power of x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 9 to the power of x. So now I have 1 plus 15 to the power of x over 9 to the power of x is equal to 25 to the power of x over 9 to the power of x. Now it's the same thing as 1 plus 15 over 9 to the power of x is equal to 25 over 9 to the power of x. Now 15 over 9, that's going to be simplified to 5 over 3. And 25 over 9, we can rewrite 25 as 5 squared and 9 as 3 squared. So now I have 5 squared, 3 squared to the power of x. Now, I can write 5 squared over 3 squared as 5 over 3 to the power of 2 to the power of x. And I'm actually going to switch the places of these two. So this is going to be to the power of x to the power of 2. Now I'm going to let 5 over 3 equal to the variable, I'm going to let 5 over 3 to the power of x equal to the variable y. So now I have 1 plus y is equal to y squared. Now I'm going to subtract y and 1 on both sides, so now I have y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 1, and c is equal to negative 1. So now I have y is equal to negative of negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 1 all over 2 times 1. And now this simplifies to 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 4 over 2, which is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So now remember how we set 5 over 3 to the power of x equal to y. So if y equals this, then I have 5 over 3 to the power of x is equal to, let's first start with 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. So to solve this, I'm going to go ahead and take the log on both sides. Now I can move this exponent to the front, so now I have x times log 5 over 3 is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. Now if I divide both sides by log 5 over 3, these two cancel out, and I'll be left with x is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2 over log 5 over 3. Now, for 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2, I have 5 over 3 to the power of x is equal to 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. Well, 1 minus the square root of 5, that's going to be a negative number. And you can't take the exponent of a positive number and make it a negative number. So this is wrong, and this is my only solution. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation 4 to the power of x squared over 2 to the power of x is equal to 8. So, the only variable I'm solving for, and the only variable that's in this equation, is x. Now for my solution, I'm first start by writing my equation down here. So I have 4 to the power of x squared over 2 to the power of x is equal to 8. And what I'm first going to do is start by rewriting 4 here as 2 squared. So I have 2 squared to the power of x squared over 2 to the power of x is equal to 8. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x squared is going to equal 2 to the power of 2 times x squared. Now I have this over 2 to the power of x is equal to 8. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m over a to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m minus n. So 2 to the power of 2x squared over 2 to the power of x, that's going to equal 2 to the power of 2x squared minus x, and this is equal to 8. Now 8, I'm going to rewrite this as 2 to the power of 3. So now another property of exponents is that if I have something in form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. In other words, if the bases of two expressions are the same, that means the exponents are equal to each other as well. So now I have 2 to the power of x squared minus x is equal to 3. And if I subtract 3 on both sides, I get 2x squared minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. So now to solve this, I'm going to use the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is 2, b is negative 1, and c is negative 3. So I get x is equal to negative of negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 3. And I have this all over 2a, so 2 times 2. So now this is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 24 over 4, which is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 25 over 4, which is equal to 1 plus or minus 5 over 4. So now this gives me two solutions. I get x equals 1 plus 5 over 4, and x equals 1 minus 5 over 4. So for x equals 1 plus 5 over 4, I get x equals 3 over 2. And for x equals 1 minus 5 over 4, I get x equals negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. So now, going back here, I have 4 to the power of x squared over 2 to the power of x equals 8. So I'm going to check these two solutions. So I'm going to first start with -1. So if I plug in x for -1, I get 4 to the power of -1 squared over 2 to the power of -1 is equal to 8. So 4 to the power of -1 squared is the same thing as 4 to the power of 1 because -1 squared is just positive 1. And 2 to the power of -1 is 1 over 2. So this turns into 4 times 2 is equal to 8, and 8 is equal to 8. Now I'm going to check x equals 3 over 2. So I have 4 to the power of 3 over 2 squared over 2 to the power of 3 over 2 is equal to 8. So 3 over 2 squared is 9 over 4, so I have 4 to the power of 9 over 4 over 2 to the power of 3 over 2 is equal to 8. So now to solve this, 4 to the power of 9 over 4 is the same thing as 4 to the power of 9 to the 4th root. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as 2 squared to the power of 9 over 4 over 2 to the power of 3 over 2. So now, let me rewrite this over here. Two times 9 over 4 is 18 over 4, so I get 2 to the power of 18 over 4 over 2 to the power of 3 over 2 is equal to 8. So now I get 2 to the power of 18 over 4 minus 3 over 2 is equal to 8. 18 over 4 minus 3 over 2 is equal to 3. So I get 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 8, and 8 is equal to 8. So this is right.